Welcome to CodeHub Tutorials. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to design a certificate. Now, to start with, open your Photoshop application on your PC. If this is the first time you are opening Photoshop, this is not going to be the interface that you are going to see. But you have done recent jobs. All the recent jobs will show up here. As you can see, recent. Now, here on this page, you are going to create your Photoshop project. Now, to create a new Photoshop project, you go to the Create New button, which is highlighted here. You click on it, and then it will show you a new document page. Okay. All right. So this is the new document page. This is where you set up the environment for your project. Now, I am designing a certificate and it is meant to be printed. I am assuming that it will be printed. So from the tabs here, we have recent, saved, photo, print, art and illustration, web, mobile, film and video. I'm just going to select the print tab. After selecting the print tab, the presets will be loaded, which means that you can create your document from that preset. So I'm going to choose a size for my work, and here I'm going to select A4. So A4 is the normal paper size we use for a certificate and most of the document. Okay, so the A4 preset will be loaded here. So let's go through the preset details. We have Untitled -1, which is supposed to be the title of our project. So here we're going to rename it to certificate. So I just type certificate here as the name of our project. Now this size has already been set because we chose a preset, so we are not going to touch this area. And then we will move on to the orientation section and change the orientation to landscape. So we select the second one. Now portrait is selected, so we choose the landscape orientation. Good. Now we will leave resolution to 300 as it is the maximum good enough for a certificate project. We will set the color mode to RGB. Though I chose print, I want to keep the color to RGB. In actual fact, I'm not going to print it, but I want to keep the color to RGB. If I'm going to print it, then I would have to change it to CMYK because the printer color uses CMYK. That is cyan, magenta, yellow, and then black. But for screens, web, and other things, it uses the RGB. That is red, green, and blue colors. I will leave the color bit to 8 and then move on to create my project. So I'll click on the create button here, and then immediately my environment will be loaded for me. So this is what I have, and I can just go straight ahead to start my project. Alright, I would like to zoom it to fill the spaces. You can see a lot of spaces around here which I'm not going to use, so I want it to fit to the screen. So to do that, you click on the zoom tool, alright, and then you select fit to screen. And then your project, the working area, which is the white area, supposed to be the A4 size, is filled to the screen. Good. Now I want to decide on the things that will be on my project, but I want to design the outlook of my certificate before I'll do any typings on it. So I'm going to use a rectangle tool here. I'll select my rectangle tool. Good. Then I will draw my rectangle to cover the entire space. I want to use this as my background. Okay, I don't want to design the project or certificate on the background, the original background. So I can see there's another rectangle which has been placed here. I don't want it. Let me delete. Okay, good. So after that, I want to change this one to white because I want to use it as my background. All right, good. So I'm using a white as my background, and for a best practice you can just what's up okay for a best practice, sorry about that, for the best practice you can rename your layers. So I rename my layer as background. Okay, I rename it as a background. Okay, so that you will know what to select at what point in time. Good. So having done that, I want to continue with the rest of the design. So select another rectangle and go up here and draw it, but this time around to cover just the top space. Okay, somewhere up to this point. All right, good. So this is the background that I have. Don't worry about the color because we're going to change the colors and other things in the subsequent time to come. Okay, so we'll continue. I want to create a look for my rectangle, so I'll just pick the direct selection tool, which is here, but before then I have to create more space for it. So I wanted to select the direct selection tool here. Okay, and now the direct selection tool is mostly meant to select the edges of the shape. Okay, so at this point I have to create another edge in the middle because that is where I want to select. As it stands now, I cannot select the middle edge. Okay, so to do that, I'll pick the add anchor point tool. Okay, to add anchor point tool to create a curve in the middle. So I'll just click on it here, and then you see that a point has been created for me. I can decide to use the anchor point tool to do that, or I can go back to the direct selection tool. Either of them will work. So I'll hold it and push it up a little bit. Okay, push up a little bit here, and this is what I have. Now I've been able to transform my rectangle. Good. Now this is not the look I want. Okay, I want to customize it to the look. So what I will do is that I will go to the effect panel and then select pattern overlay. All right, I'll select pattern overlay. I want to design it in a way that it will have patterns on it. So I'll go to the effect and click on pattern overlay, and then you can see the pattern has been added. But I don't want this pattern, so I have the opportunity to select different patterns. So I'll click the drop down here, go to grass. Let me see. Okay, I think I have one here. The first one, I'll choose this one, and I think it looks better for me. All right, now there are ways we can also customize the position, the look, the texture of the pattern you have selected. So you can scale here. See, you can scale, and then the size of the grass grow bigger. Okay, zoom out wide for you. You can scale backwards to get smaller pattern. All right, you can scale forward to get a larger pattern. All right, you can also set out the angle for which the pattern should start from. All right, okay, you can set the angle for it, and then you can also set the opacity, which means that you would want it to grow lighter or dimmer so you can see or feel the background on it. So in a design element, we can say, or a design principle, we can say we are creating a camouflage. All right, so we can create a camouflage from this look using the opacity. You can see that the background has actually popped out or blended with the pattern. Okay, and this is a good one, but I'm going to change my background, so let me leave this for now. Okay, let me set it to 50. and then click on OK to transform my design. As I told you, I'm going to change the color of the background, that is the shape. Though it has a pattern overlay, I can still change the color. So to do that, I'll go to effect again, and this time around select color overlay. Okay, I want to select the color overlay. Alright, remember our shape was created in a blue color. Alright, we can continue to change it to whatever color you want, but I realized that adding the color overlay rather override the pattern. So to do that, to avoid this, I'm going to rather go to the shapes area, select it, and go to the fill panel. Go to the fill tab here, click on it, and rather set my color from that angle. So I'll click on the swatch, the color swatch, select the color I want a golden color, some sort of a gold color up here. Right, and click on OK to click on here, and now I have my color. Okay, so I have the color that I want. So this is what I wanted, and I've achieved it. Let me try to reduce the opacity of the pattern, alright, to see how best it can show up here. So this all happening in a quick succession. You can just use this. So let me reduce it small to see. Alright, let me increase it small, increase the opacity. So yeah, we are around 61, I think 60 will be okay for me now, and click on OK. Now this is how I want my design to be. Alright, I want the same design to show below here. Alright, I want the same design to show below my certificate. So I'm going to duplicate this and then use it to the bottom of the image of the certificate. So to duplicate, you have various ways. Alright, you can use Ctrl+J on the keyboard, or you can simply hold the Alt key and then drag the image. Right, I like to use the Alt and then drag. So I'll hold the Alt key and then drag on the image, and whilst I'm dragging, you can see that it is moving. The duplication has occurred. Alright, the duplication has occurred, and then I will leave it, and then it's here. Okay, so I want it to show up below or beneath the certificate, so I will transform my design. So let me see. Okay, let's go to transform, and then set the transform, I think. Alright, set the transform to 180. So you want it to turn it over, okay, like this. Set it to 180, and then I'll transform it. Good. So drag it, drag it, drag it to the very last end. Okay, to the very last end, and I would like to, I think, forgive me, my machine is running very low today. I've already started a video, so I cannot do anything about it. So let me just find my way out on this, and then in my next tutorial, I promise it will get better. So you can use the down arrow key to move it to the location that you want. Alright, so that is exactly what I'm doing currently, using the down arrow key to move my pattern. Now, so you already you have seen how it is going. Alright, we've had a pattern up and then the bottom of our certificate. Now there are a lot more things we can add. So we have created a balance in this. So if you are you know about designing and other things, you can see that you are using some principles of design and some elements. And this time around, this is balance. You can see there is a balance from the top to the bottom, creating a contrast, or let's say a harmony. Okay, a harmony on the design. So this is the next stage that I want us to go. I want us to add, you can see that the middle point is empty. I want us to add something to keep that point occupied. So I'm going to select the rectangle again, and then this time around I will draw it here, okay, again, and then it will look like it has covered it. Now that is what I want to achieve, but in a different dimension or in a different way. So I'll go back and select the add anchor point tool, and then create another point here. But this time around, instead of pushing it upwards, I'm going to push it downwards. All right, so I will pull it downwards like this. Okay, good, I have it. So now I want the background to show, okay, the other slide or the other layer to show. So I'm going to move this one upwards. All right, I'm going to move this one upwards. Good. So moved this one upwards, and I think it's good, but the other one looks quite smaller. So I'm going to pull that one, enlarge it. Okay, now this is what I have. Good. Now I'm going to also apply some element or some design on this one. So I would select this, go to gradient, go to color overlay, pattern overlay once again, and then add the same design on it. All right, so let's see how it goes. Okay, so I would rather want to, okay, let me add and change the color to my preferred color. All right, let me change to this color like this. But you can see that they are having the same shade and it's not looking nice. So what I wanted to do is rather change the color under it to a different thing. All right, I don't want to have the same pattern on it, but I want to get a solid color. All right, so I'm going to change that one. Instead of adding a pattern overlay, I'm going to add a color overlay, and this time around I want a dark color, that is black color overlay on that. So I have done that. So now I have dark color, and then you can see other the areas. All right, you can decide to choose some colors. So let me try to undo the change and look at the other things. All right, so let me see. Okay, so I'll go to the color overlay once again to see if any other color would match this. I think the black is not matching, so you need to look at the harmony. Okay, so let me use this color and see the gold color. All right, so because I want to create a harmony in the design. Okay, that is for a good practice. You need to use some element of design to apply to your design. Apply some element to your design to allow your design have a feel, create meaning out of your design. Right. So Well, I think let's leave it. If there is something, if anything comes up, I'm going to add to it. Now we are done with, I think it looks quite okay. We are done with it. Now I want to add the text, all right, on it. So this is a certificate, so I'm going to the text tool, click on it, and then I'm going to write whatever information I want on it. Okay, I'm going to write the information that I want on it. All right, so select the text tool and then type my titles on it. So I'm just going to type certificate of completion, but I want them to have different field. All right, so I'll say certificate. All right, just type the certificate here. I want to break the titles into different forms. Though it's certificate of completion, I just want the certificate to stand out as well as the others to also stand out. I don't know what is happening, but I've had a tougher time using this touchpad and select when it is not. Okay, so let's change the color to see what we can get from it. So I would like to use the color from the background, so I have it like this. Good. So this is going to be our text. So let's find a proper font that can replace it. So we just go here to select a font that will give our certificate a great look. So let's try the test the font one after the other to see how each of them will look. So let me select this one and see. Alright, so this button here has converted all my text into caps, and I don't want it that way, so I will turn it off to see, because I'm experimenting with the font and on which one will look nicer on the certificate. So alright, so let me increase the size to have 36 currently, which is also smaller. 60, let's see. Okay. Alright, so I think I don't like the font, the look of the font. Let me look at some font that I can use. Font. So okay, can just reduce the font size because I want it to just lie below the certificate. Alright, so I can choose like 30, and 30 is okay. So I have certificate of completion. Let me also mention that you can actually increase or reduce the size of the font by transforming it. So whilst the text is selected like this, you can pull out the edge. Okay, you can pull out the edge of the font, okay, of the selected font, to increase the size. And let me also add it that you can hold the Alt key whilst you are stretching. You can hold the Alt key so that the size will be distributed accurately at all angles. So whilst I hold the Alt key, it is distributed at all angles. Then you can transform it right here. So I've increased. This is another way to increase the size of the font. Okay, so by default the font size ends at 72, but you can actually increase it by adjusting or stretching out the edges. Alright, so I have certificate of completion perfectly done for me. Okay, so I can change the size to at least 48 because I've increased the main text at the certificate, so I can just increase the supporting text just a little to complement that. Now feel free to do your own adjustment. Okay, feel free, just follow the rules and then do your own adjustment to the font. Select whatever size you want, whatever font type that is available to you. Alright, so I have installed lots of fonts, so I have the option of picking from the lot that I have. So certificate of completion. Now we need to add where we're going to place the name of the person who has been certified. So I want us to add some kind of some elements here. So I'm going to add a rectangle here. I'm going to draw a rectangle here where I'm going to place the name of the certificate holder or the person expected to have the certificate. Alright, so let me change the color to my default colors. Okay, and I think this one's set well, but the others may need some adjustment, so let me adjust it correctly to the middle. Remember, we're looking at balance. Okay, so I can just move it a little because I see that they are not balanced well, so I can just move it a bit upwards. Okay, please, yes. Okay, so this is what I have. Now let me add some garnishings or some styles to my rectangle, and I want some curvy edges, so I will scroll down here, scroll down until I reach the curvy areas. But this time around I don't want it to affect all the sizes. Okay, so there's this trick that you need to know. Once this is linked, this is a kind of chain. All right, so it says link, so it is linked together. Remember, this rectangle has 4 edges and we're working with the edges now, so all the edges are linked, but I don't want to use all the edges. I just want some left, maybe top right corner and then bottom left corner. All right, so I'll just have to unlink them, and since I have unlinked them, I can set out the values for each of them. So I'm working with the left bottom corner, okay, or bottom left corner, and I want it to be somewhere 150. Okay, so I've set it to 150. Let me go to top right corner. All right, top right corner also 150. It's exactly like that, and I can transform it. So this is what I have here. Good. So this is where I'm going to place the name of the certified person, but I also want to add some kind of 3D extrusion or 3D look to this. So pay attention to what I'm going to do. Lots of processes involved, so pay attention to this. Now I want to add the 3D, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up an ellipse. Okay, an ellipse. Alright, I'll choose an ellipse tool, and then I'm going to draw an ellipse. This is intended to be under the rectangle, so if it doesn't go under it, I'm going to adjust it to place it under it. I think by now it will be on top of it, but that's not what I want. I want it to be below it. So let me change the colors. I want us to go over, and then when we are done, I'm just going to show you how we can put it at the back or at the bottom of the rectangle. So I want to select the color I want is not here. Let me go to the swatch and then select some color like dark gray. Alright, so dark gray selected. Good. So my dark gray color is selected, and now you can see it clearly that we have an ellipse on top of the rectangle. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to use some styles on it, and I'm going to use a blur. Okay, so I'll go to filter. So we go to the tabs. Okay, we have filter, you have file, edit, image, layer, type, select, filter, 3D view, plugins, window, and help. So I'm going to select the filter right now and move down to blur. All right, so I have blur here. I'll then move on to select the Gaussian blur. Okay, select Gaussian blur, and to do that, it will prompt you to first convert the image to a smart object or rasterize it. So I have to convert it to a smart object. Good. To take a few moments to convert the layer into a smart object, then I can apply my filters on it. So you just take a few seconds and then it will be done. So this will add a 3D look on the rectangle. Okay, so it will be like a rectangle that has a shadow behind it, that has the shadow has been cast at the background. So this is what it looks like, and really cool feature that you can use in your designs quite often. Alright, so this is how I want it to be, and now I can go ahead and write the name of the person there. So I'll just need small text before I write. So here I'll write something like okay, let me write something like this certificate is awarded to. Alright, so that is the first line. So I'll say this certificate is awarded to. Alright, and I'm going to choose the Arial regular font, and probably set and change the color as well, and then change the size to something that can be read in one line. Alright, so I'll choose 18, then I'll set the color to black. Alright, I'll set the color to black, 18, and then set the color to black. Okay, then I'll change the font to Arial. So I have Arial right here, so I'll click on it to change the font type to Arial. So this certificate of completion, this certificate is awarded to, and then we can continue with the name of the person who the certificate is awarded to. So I'll just place it here. Alright. Good. Now I'm going to write the rest of the text, and I'm going to duplicate this because I already have the styles and everything on it. So I'm just going to duplicate and then fill in or type the other text that I want to. So to do that, as I did earlier, you're going to hold the Alt key and then drag it to the position you want it to be. So here I'm going to start from here, so I'll place it here. All right, and then I'll edit it. So just click on it 2 times in quick succession, double click on it, and then the text will be released for you to type. So for being an outstanding student of, here I'm going to use the University of Education Winneba, and completed a course. So the course in BSc Information and Communications Technology Education. All right, so this is the course area, the details of the certificate. Okay, but you can see that there are a lot of spaces in between the text. All right, that is because of we've increased the spacing, the line spacing of the text in our previous font, so our previous text. So what I'm going to do is to go here. This is where we set the spacing, the line spacing, which is called the leading. All right, so I'm going to set it to auto to actually remove all the spacing, to set it to the default line spacing. Good. All right, so I have this. Now this is what I want us to do, because this is a certificate and this is the information. You can go ahead to add other information like the name of the person. You can write it on it, the director, the other things, that whatever you want to add to it, you can add to it. But this is where I wanted you to understand, and I wanted you to get the feel of how you could design a certificate on your own. There are other things you can add to it, but with the processes I've showed you, you can go over it again to do other stuff that you want. So think of anything that you want to add. Perhaps you want to add a line, it is available there, get it and add it to your certificate. You want to add any other thing, just know that all the things that I wanted to apply here has been applied correctly, and this is where I want to get to for this. I don't want the video to be quite long, to be too long. Okay, so I'm going to end here. You can add your comments. If anything that you want to add to it, you can add your comments in the comment section. Do well to subscribe, like and share the video for others to come and watch the tutorials over here. There are a lot of tutorials on website development, on Photoshop, that is graphic designing, on Microsoft Word, and a host of others. There are a lot more videos coming, videos in artificial intelligence, video in computer programming, Python programming, Dart programming language, Java, and other things coming up shortly. So just subscribe to this and hit the notification bell, that anytime I upload new video, you get a feel of the video. All right, thank you for watching this video, and stay safe until the next video.